What up guys, Miguel here from Yugatech, and this is the Galaxy Z Fold 4. This is the opposition. So I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of foldable smartphones by now, with the likes of Samsung's Galaxy, Z Fold, and Z Flip devices pioneering the market. Focusing on the Z Fold, it's essentially a tablet you can put into your pocket, reinventing the term phablet. Samsung has released its 4th iterations for its consumer foldable devices. OPPO's response to the Z Fold 4 was this OPPO Find N2, the 2nd iteration to OPPO's Find N. Compared to the Z Fold 4 folded, the Find N2 is shorter in height by 22.9mm and wider in length by 5.5mm, thus giving the N2 a better ergonomic form factor in my opinion. Speaking of ergonomics, this is my favorite foldable device to hold onto in the market. The 5.54-inch display makes it easy to use when folded and in one hand. Going into design, the OPPO Find N2 features an aluminum frame sandwiched by glass in front and at the back. At the back, it's hard not to notice the Hasselblad branded triple camera module, as it creates quite the camera bump like most recent smartphones to date. I do like the frosted matte glass back, as it feels really nice in my opinion, with the subtle OPPO branding at the bottom right. Our unit is in this green colorway, and it really makes the back panel of the N2 pop. You can also get the Find N2 in black or in white. Folded, at the top of the device, you can find a grill housing the call earpiece. Right below it is the punch hole selfie camera, while above the grill is the mic for loudspeaker calls. At the base of the device, from left to right, you can find the dual SIM card tray, mic for regular calls, Type-C port, and a pair of bottom-firing stereo speakers. On the right side of the device, you can find the volume rocker and power button that doubles as a capacitive fingerprint scanner. Unfolding the N2, we are greeted by the beautiful 120Hz Amoled display with the second punch hole selfie camera at the top left corner. Speaking of display, again, unfolded, the OPPO Find N2 features a 7.1-inch 120Hz LTPO AMOLED panel that supports HDR10+ and can reach a peak brightness of 1550 nits. Your eyeballs will pop. The cover display is a 5.54-inch 120Hz AMOLED one as well. The cover display is also protected by Corning Gorilla Glass Victus and gets a peak brightness of 1350 nits, making viewing either of the displays, folded or unfolded, a visual treat to consume media and play games, even outdoors. I've even tried reading manga on this device, and the novelty of being able to read on this device simulating an actual book is very nice. When it comes to media consumption, apart from this device taking the definition of eye candy to another level, the speakers really surprised me on this thing. We got a stereo setup here, but both are bottom firing, which would usually greatly affect the listening experience when consuming media on this device, like this, and because it fires down. Although, on the Find N2, it is no problemo, as they get very, very loud. And it also features Dolby Audio support. Depending on what you're watching, without the headphones or earphones of course, I'd never really find myself past 60 to 80% volume when consuming media on this, unfolded. And I'd only ever really max this thing out to 100 when I need to drown everything out as much as possible. But of course, this also leads to distortion at max volume. So yeah, they get very loud and full enough, lacking in the low end, but come on, this is a phone and not an actual speaker. Next up, performance. For hardware, the OPPO Find N2 is equipped with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 4nm chipset and an Adreno 730 GPU. For configurations, the unit we have here is the 16 plus 512 gigs of internal storage variant, but there is a 12 gigs of RAM plus 256 gigs of internal storage configuration. For software, you get Android 13 out of the box, skinned with ColorOS 13 on top. I used to not be the biggest fan of ColorOS, but they've actually come a long way from ColorOS 6. We still get the usual iOS-like design and layout, but with a lot more UI options for customization. You can really tell they've learned a thing or two from Oxygen OS, though in my opinion, they can still work on more tweaks for easier multitasking options like better split screen integration, especially for this, which is a foldable. The Find N2 does have an app optimization feature which basically scales up apps to the unfolded display's resolution, which definitely works for most apps. But you may find some apps who have yet to optimize for this particular model. Overall, I do like ColorOS on this device. I got used to it really quick, so no major issues here. When it comes to day-to-day tasks like being on call, answering messages, consuming media, and playing a bunch of games, the OPPO Find N2 handled it like one would expect from a flagship foldable. No major concerns here. If you guys are interested in benchmark scores, I'll have them flash on screen right now. For battery, the OPPO Find N2 gets an impressive 4,520 mAh battery capable of 67-watt Superbook ultra-fast charging. In the PC Mark Work 3.0 battery life test, we got 11 hours and 30 minutes. In our standard video loop test, which entails the phone being at 50% brightness, 50% volume, and airplane mode turned on, this device lasted a whopping 22 hours and 12 minutes. The best thing about it though for me is the inclusion of 67-watt Superbook, which enabled me to charge this thing from 0 to 100 in approximately 53 minutes. It literally takes a little less than an hour to charge up this 5,520 mAh foldable phablet, which is kinda bonkers. When it comes to biometric security, you get optical facial recognition on here. It's very fast, but may not always work well in low lighting conditions, or if either of the selfie cameras are smudged up. Although if you are getting a lot of facial recognition errors, you can double down with the capacitive fingerprint scanner, which also doubles as the power button. It's very reliable and quick, but being a side-mounted one, you may want to register one finger more than once for better recognition with said finger. I'm also left-handed, so I primarily use my left hand to handle the phone. And I don't know, my fellow lefties, I don't think foldable phablets are made for us. Because clearly the volume rocker is where the hinge is, so you gotta get used to using your index finger to do everything, basically. Moving on to the cameras. The OPPO Find N2 gets a triple camera setup that consists of a 50-megapixel main shooter, a 48-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 32-megapixel 2x telephoto. For the selfie shooters, whether folded or unfolded, the device gets the same 32-megapixel selfie camera. The Find N2's camera system features the Hasselblad color space, which is nice to see. You even get a cool Pro mode and Expand panoramic mode. These might fall on the more gimmicky department for features, but are definitely a welcome addition. For video, the Find N2 allows users to shoot in 4K in either 30 or 60p, and Full HD at 30, 60, and 240p, which is slow motion, by the way. Check out some of our sample shots. Moving into our video's conclusion. While OPPO might be a little bit late to the foldable game, with Samsung and Huawei pioneering several generations of foldables, the Find N2 is a surprisingly innovative entry to the segment. We are even surprised to report that after showing the N2 to several people in the office, they found it more practical and usable than the Z Fold 4. Too bad the Find N2 will not be available in the Philippines as it is currently a China-exclusive device. But if ever OPPO decides to release the next generation to our shores, it will definitely be a proper contender for the best foldable phablet on the market. So, what did you guys think of the OPPO Find N2? Do you wish OPPO offered this device here? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to smack that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit that bell icon so you get notified of future uploads. Be sure to visit yugatech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. Again, this has been Miguel, and I'll see you in the next one.